Okay, welcome back everyone. It's David, aka Faramir4731, bringing you another battle on the Finland map. And you can see here I'm going to be playing as France, and I am taking the left flank, and I am on the major hill, which is commonly known as the Hill of Death, or I don't know. Well, anyways, um, yeah, so I will be taking this hill, and my opponent is going to be playing as the Dutch, and he is Skuzpad, and he is a very aggressive player. So my build is set up to combat against his typical build that he carries, which he's going to carry a lot of Holland Guard, quite a bit of line, rifles, of course, and light dragoons. So in this build, I have a fairly small army, actually, in the fact that usually I'll carry 20 units. In this one, I think I have 16, and I have no cav, but I've made up for that with carrying more line infantry. And in doing this, I had to use the 90 range lights with the Schalzer Pied, and I'm going to use those to high effect. Now, he is going to outrange me in the rifle fight, because my guys are only 90 range versus his 125. So I have to close the distance if I get in a rifle fight, but my guys reload much faster. Now, also in this build, I have a Mason Duroil and a Swiss Guard, and I have 5 line infantry. And you can see I have ranked up with 1 chevron a few of these units. Now, what that will do is it's going to give me extra melee attack with those units, and I also have 4 Bulkleys. So, and I have a militia and a grenadier up here on the tip top of the hill, and you're going to see that this is going to be a nice melee push because France has, with Russia, tied for the best charge bonus of their standard line. And when you also max in with their melee attack, it turns out to be a nice little melee unit. So we'll get the video started here. You see my ally to my immediate right is going to be Spain. I have a Dutch ally at the bottom and another French player at the very bottom of the hill. So you're going to see I am going to quickly move my forces forward, as is he. Now, it's going to be easier for him to get onto the hill, and I actually tried a different build versus him for an aggression versus aggression type of game, but I didn't fare as well versus him on that. Usually my tactic on him is to allow his aggression to put him out of the game. Yeah, so in this tactic I'm just going to go up and I'm going to make this as messy and as confusing as possible, try to cause some frustration on his part, and to hopefully allow me to gain an advantage of speed, of being able to readjust as the battle kind of goes, because like I said, this is going to be right up in your face, smashing you in the mouth type of battle here. You can see his rifles are just now cresting the hill, and I have my militia who is going to be running straight into an absorption of that those units. That way I don't have to worry about his rifles doing too much damage to me. And you can see I've got my 90 range coming up here. They're going to stick right in the woodland, which will help give them a little bit more cover. And then I can open up on some of their more important units, which are the Swiss infantry and such. I did get a little bit of volley on them, and here you're going to see I actually brought 2 militia. I'm sorry. Got my other militia going straight into him. Now here, watch what happens here. My lines are doing their volleys. I got him down to 99, and I'm just going to straight out bayonet him. Now watch what's going to happen. And this is the one I didn't rank up. Now he's already dropping because he's coming uphill, and he's already tired, and my guys are active. So this is going to give me a massive advantage. As you can see, my militia's routing off, and my other one is about to route. I think his routed off already, but his line over here is already down to 62. My line is at 108, and he's already gotten shot by my allies' cav, the carabiners. So yeah, things are starting to progress pretty nicely. I'm going to start shifting over my lights to start to whittle these guys down here, and you're going to see I'm going to melee in because I don't want to get in a rifle fight with Holland Guard. And he's got 3 of them right here, 4, 5 of them. Okay, so my goal is to hit this line because this one already broke, and I'm just going to keep hitting these guys, meleeing, and then strafing across with my lines. Now you can see I was already down to 69 with this unit and 109 here, but I'm going to hit them, square up, and then my Swiss and my Mason de Royal are going to come in and start just wasting away at these guys. You know, we can just start whittling them down. I've got 1 light over here shooting at his lights. My other 2 are going to be shooting at the Scott as I want to whittle them down. And I will start to bring in my Bulkleys here as these guys are going to start wearing down and getting a little even more tired. And this is going to even more so help me out. So you can see here I've got 3 pretty healthy strength lines, all in the hundreds. And I've got his Holland Guards, which are in pretty good strength right now, but they're just going to continue to get whittled. Because I got 4 pretty good full strength lines going to melee into this flank. Now you can see Warfighter over here is playing as Sweden. He's going to try to come up and assist him. So I am going to now press forward more of my attack and see what we can do to continue to put a pain on them. You can see this Scott, I've already whittled him down to 31, so him shooting at my lights is fine. I could care less. I've got this one in standard formation. I am just trying to, again, take down his most important units, which right now, quite frankly, are the lines. You can see he's got 1 at 27 and 1 at 31 here. His Holland Guard here is in pretty good shape. But now I've got my Swiss and my Mason de Royal going into him at basically point blank. I've got these Swedish lines coming up here, but I'm actually going to be okay versus that, especially if my ally, I told him to move forward. Hopefully he does. But you can see here over on this flank, I am now charging with my Bulkley, which is fresh, and I am going to push back his lights and his cav with that, so my lights can just continue, even though they're depleted, they can continue to just start shooting at this Holland Guard now, because I am starting to wrap this flank, because I will push all this back with these 2 Bulkleys. Now you can see here I am getting completely wrapped, so I need my ally to push. This is a completely perfect time for him to be pushing. You can see I got light dragoons all behind me, so I am going to shift my lights over and I'll assist with my grenadiers. You can see it's so packed in here that his light dragoons are not going to do a whole lot of damage in the trees. He's got 1 Holland Guard up here on the top, but he's also shooting into the zone back of his men, and that's going to do me an advantage there. You can see here I have pushed all those lines back with my Bulkley. My other one is wrapping this flank. He is commenced into squares. My other Bulkleys are going to now charge into him. I'm already routing this one out, and I'm going to start meleeing into this. Now, my ally has finally started pushing up, and he is going to force Warfighter to try to reassess, because he has got his full bulk of his army to be able to push in. And you can see the Holland Guard, one is already down to 3, 1 to 20. They routed out. So he's down to 65 Holland Guard, a 63 Holland Guard, and a 75 Holland Guard. And I've got my lines here, 53, 36, and I've got a Bulkley at 98, and a Bulkley at 71, Bulkley at 93, and a Bulkley at 74. And my Mason de Royal and Swiss are in really good health. And now you can see I'm just going to start shooting them up. I've wrapped over my flank to be able to really do the most optimal damage I possibly can. And you can see I'm going to commence another melee attack. Even though I'm very tired, you know, it's going to stick him from being able to run away, so I can continue to shoot him down. Now this Holland Guard is about to go bye-byes, and I can start pushing these two Bulkleys out of this and push them through. But you can see here that we have captured the hill, and he is down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units left, versus I have 10 units, and I have way more strength in mine than he does. I'm about to lose one, but it's all good because, like I said, he has lost the massive bulk of his force, and I have all pretty much elites left in my roster. And so at this point, I know I've got things under control. I can start reshifting. My ally actually did a really good move on pushing forward, and has caused considerable damage to Warfighter, because he had to come off this hill to replenish his lines over here, because all his flank over here has gotten pretty much wasted. It's going to force the British ally of theirs to start coming up, which is going to leave him thin. And you can see now the Dutch player at the bottom is going to commence his assault, because again, this British player is going to be spread thin, and then it's just going to continue, because the Prussian will have to also come to aid up here. Otherwise, they're dealing with a complete collapse. Now, my guys have rolled into the trees, and I'm just avoiding his long range. Honestly, he can leave his long range up there. Oh, I got another grenadier up here still I haven't used. And so I'm just going to continue to let his lights stay up here, and I'm going to move my lights down so I can start whittling away at Warfighter. Okay, because honestly, at this point, he doesn't have anything left that's going to affect us, and I've got way more than him. I can just simply push up. You can see I didn't take a great deal of damage, and I can start getting right up in his face and try to knock out his lights right here with my standard lines already there. I'm getting a volley into him, and he'll crest over the hill here in a second, but you can see I've already pretty much knocked out that light. That light's going to rout out. Now my grenadiers coming forward, and my lights are over here assisting, trying to push back these lines. So I've got two Holland Guard over here going into a pretty decent scruff with my Swiss Guard, and also a Spanish line over here. And I can't remember where my Mason Durrell, I don't know where he is. Maybe I lost him. Oh, he's over here. But my Swiss is going to be okay in this fight. And you can see my Bulkley, unfortunately, is not in range, or in a good range where he can come into effect. But you can see these Swiss right. This Holland is about to break right there. And if these Cav come up to assist, my Bulkleys should shoot him down. Now, you can see we're going to fade back here a little bit. And this is just going to be more for us. Now, you're going to see the British player did roll back down because he did see that the Dutch player was coming forward, so he can no longer assist in the fight at the top of the hill, which is all the more benefit for us. This player up here has pretty much rolled all of his forces out. You can see I'm down to 31 on my Swiss, but he's down to 22, and I was going at it 2v1, and now he's gone. I did get a little shot there from his rifle, but I have forced his other Holland Guard, which has 50 men in it, out of the mix, and now this section of the hill is completely ours, and we can really go after the bottom here. You can see the rifle fight is in our favor tremendously, and that's what happens when you sometimes help out your allies. You do help your ally, but you end up putting yourself thin for an attack or an assault. So here you can see the Dutch player is going to He's got a Holland Guard heavy army as well on our side, so he should have a pretty good go against the British player. Now, I have my units over here. I'm going to start rolling them down, and we're just going to go after Warfighter pretty hard. Let's go ahead and fast forward. It does slow down quite a bit. You can see the Prussian player down here is trying to make something happen versus the French player, but it's not really doing for him. He does look like he is either even or losing that fight. You're going to see he's going to bunch up here pretty tight. It's not really the best formation for your regular lines, but they're doing that so they protect their Holland Guard. But to me, I think it's a waste of firepower. Okay, so here goes my assault on the Warfighter, the Swedish player. And you can see as the Spanish player is going to roll back versus all these lines, I'm going to come forward and I'm going to get a nice volley on this superior line. As his lines come forward, I can roll back, and my Bulkley will be there to help with also these guards. So, and you can see I'm bringing down Bulkley, the Mason du Royal, and I'm sorry, the Swiss Mason du Royal and the Grenadiers. So, yeah, putting quite a bit of firepower. This superior line just got completely whittled down. Now we're going to be dealing with this. All his light dragoons are going to come in here and make an assault, and this is kind of a last-ditch attempt. And yeah, so he's going to get into our my lights, which I've got them in standard formation. I'm just targeting his light dragoons to keep firing at him, so that will help us quite a bit there. All right, so these lines have been completely evaporated by the guard units of the Spanish player. So he's pretty much got enough units up here to handle whatever Scuzza has. So I can continue to help push over here against Warfighter. As you can see, the bulk of his force is pretty much gone. And yeah, I did lose one of my lights, but I still have one at 58, one at 23. And now we can just commence our push and then look to wrap on the British player. So it doesn't matter at this point to me how much damage I get inflicted upon me. I just want them in complete disarray in retreat. So I am just going to make a full-on push on them. And you can see here the Spanish player is going to be able to wrap, and you're going to see I'm going to move my lines down. This hill now has no consequence to the game or the battle. He can take his force, which is very small, and wrap it around us, and it will do absolutely no good. So I am completely fine with that. Now I did get a small shot there. You can see this Bulkley is going to continue to force his lights back, so these lights can come up and shoot this line here. So that's the whole mission. And this light dragoon does get into me, but I'm just going to melee through it. And here I am shooting the hill a bit, so not really great, but yeah, I am doing some damage still, but he is going to have some of his shots blocked as well. So sorry, you can see here the right flank of the British player is under a little bit of pressure, as now the left flank is as well. Prussian player is almost completely wiped out at this point, as it appears, unless he still has something hidden. He does have a cuirassier there, but you can see the French player is coming in full force on him. And again, my Bulkley is just going to try to do the most damage it can. It's now attacking this line here. As you can see, I'm in a full-on push. And this is going to cause this stress on this British flank, and it's going to allow the Dutch to just hammer this center and left. Yeah, so you can see I was getting some shots. I shoot with one, push with the others, so that way there's continual damage and continual forcing of them to remaneuver. So you can see where I have one holding, shooting, and the other pushing. And this unit meleeing is going to cause a disruption. I was hoping the Spanish player would push more, but a lot of players struggle sometimes with pushing an opponent as he kites, and they'll complain, stand still, and so forth. But really, it's up to you as a player to be aggressive enough to push, not for the opponent to stand still. So you can see my guy is exhausted and they're only active, but a Bulkley is pretty strong. Even at 38, he will still be able to handle quite a bit. So you can see here, he's got his rifleman reeling around to bear on my lights, but he is not going to be able to stay in that. As you can see, I am whittling down this line here, but I should have pushed these lines already, so that did delay us some time there. You can see the French player down here has completely wrapped the Prussian, so we have them in a completely pocketed in. As is the Dutch player over here, he is also completely pocketed in. He has Holland Guard is about to go bye-byes versus that guard there. Now you can see, again, my Bulkley of 35 is just there merely to continue to push his lights so that they cannot be of any effect. And you did see he spent some money ranking them up, and it is going to be money that I am pushing out of this fight. So here come his lines. I'm going to stand in here and take it. I just want to take this fight so I can knock down that, especially the superior line, as I do have my Swiss and my Mason de Royale coming up. I am willing to take this fight. Okay, so here comes in a cav charge. You see I am continually pushing on this line as well. He's taking some beating there, as my grenadiers are as well, and that's my general unit, but he is now coming under fire from the Spanish player. I will most likely lose my general unit at this point, but it is all good. You can see I've meleeed into this line here. Just lost my general unit, but he is about to lose his superior line, and that leaves the green jackets in complete unprotected position. You can see the British player is going to be all hidden in the woodland here, and the last remnants of Warfighter's army is going to push to that. Now I'm going to leave this line behind and just melee through it so I can continue on my push and assault of these players. I want them continually re-shifting and focusing. That way this Dutch player can come up and really mass his firepower. As he shifts units, he's not going to bring as many rifles to bear, so my ally can shoot him down. And the Spanish player should be all up in his grill right here, so hopefully he gets over there. But this line here, I will be able to shoot down here briefly, and there goes that line. It is goners. So now I've got these lines, which are Bulkleys, which are in half strength. They will do their best. As you can see, I have now got into melee with my Swiss and my Mason de Royale with all of his green jackets, and I am doing some considerable damage to them. Again, I see the lines coming up, so I'm going to melee into them, and you can see my lights and are just going to be able to start shooting them up as they run. And my Bulkley is going to come up and hit him in the back as he tries to come through with his lights. I'm there to greet him. And I've also got this other Bulkley that can either go into Warfighter's lights, or I can come into the back of him here. So it gives me a lot of options, and it also gives this British player the only option of moving back into the woodland, which also gives him no use of his lights, because he's going to be spending time maneuvering them versus shooting them, and that's not a good thing when you have lights. You need them shooting, not maneuvering. Okay, so you can see mine are at the moment shooting, so I am taking down his green jackets right here at close range. You can see I've got his line here squared up. First my Mason de Royale, so that my ally can shoot up that square, and then I am going to push into this other line since he is in the square, and I can disrupt this line. It's all about disruption at this point. So there goes my Swiss Guard has just bailed out, and now my lights can shoot at this square as well. Okay, so my Mason Durrell is almost goners, but you can see the French ally of ours has come up completely behind them on this side, and the Prussian player actually held in pretty nice versus that. This French player is kind of compacted, you can see with the line, so he's not going to bring all of his rifles to bear. Now they're going to have all these units that they can come on down the hill and just do a push out, but they choose not to. Again, partly it could be because there's several players with all these armies, but you can see they have way more than enough units to do a massive rush on this army that came through this corner. That's why it's very dangerous if you come over here. But he's got enough units and good units that he can hold out here while I come in through the trees and start to do damage through him, because I'm just going straight into melee. I want them stuck there. I don't want these guys coming through. You can see we already routed out that. I got my lights shooting into him, as does the Cazadors. They're shooting into the green jackets here, and they are wavering out. We can just go from unit to unit, and this forces Warfighter to either shoot here at me or shoot at them. And the Dutch player and the Spanish player hopefully start pushing in, and we can start putting this one to rest. As you can see, somebody's general just passed away. For our enemy, it was Warfighters. Okay. Now, you can see I've got my lights still pushing. I'm going to start pushing on these light dragoons, shooting them down. You can see my Bulkleys, they're starting to wear down, but we're also wearing down their line as they just routed out. And I am here stuck in melee with these guys, the light dragoons, and this is going to continue to cause disruption, so my French ally here can hopefully last just a little bit longer for the Dutch and the Spanish to come through and seal the deal. You can see this cav charge here is not going to bode well. I'm going to be bringing my lights, and I'm going to get point blank on these two Jaegers, I believe. That way I don't shoot the hill, I can shoot right into him. You can see our ally is not faring well at all. He does have a line infantry that came back, but I don't think he notices that yet. He's trying to bail out of this. I'm trying to go straight into melee, right through them, continuing to push through them. Luckily, the Dutch ally is starting to roll some of his units over here to assist versus these this push out. That was kind of a wise move, and a wise move for the French player to come this way with his units. This continues our entrapment of them, and it forces our opponents to reel around and go a different route. Now, this light dragoon is still hanging in there for the British player, but the rest of his units are getting pretty much wasted out. As you can see, my Bulkleys at 25 and 43 still hanging in there, meleeing and keeping them in place, but one of them is about to break, unfortunately. So here goes the two Prussian superior line are going to be working to shoot down my lights here, and I'm just going to stay in the fight and do as much damage as possible. It keeps a superior line busy on me, a unit that's almost out of ammunition. And now I got the general coming to join in, so I'm actually using both these units to shoot at this general, and hopefully I can kill that general. And I can't remember, I don't think I do, but you can see I've already got them down to 19. So both my units there rout, as well as my Bulkleys. So I at this point am dead, but I think I have done enough damage and enough disruption for our, oh, I do have one unit here coming down, 80 Bulkley, after we had these two riflemen of Scuzza coming from the top. But like I said, hopefully I've done enough damage and enough disruption for our allies to win this battle. As you can see, they're holding in pretty strong. The British player's got a black watch here, but he's only got 52 men in it, and he is hopefully going to sail to the next life here in a minute. These two black watch here are pretty depleted, as are Warfighter's lights. They are pretty much a dunners. Okay, they're pulling out of that fight a little bit, and this is going to put more pressure on our French ally, but luckily this time the Dutch is there, and they are whittled down too much to really cause any problem. So now the French player is being tag teamed by several units here, and I did get my Bulkley into Scuzza's lights, and I'm about to bulkily charge the other one as he is standing shooting. And let's speed this up just a smidge. As you can see, things start to slow down a bit. Okay, so I think I'm almost in melee with him. If he stops to shoot, I'll be able to crush him. He will be a goner. Now I am going to be coming right up on their flank. His Jaegers are going to be in danger, as well as his all these long range units are in danger now from being bulkily charged. And then I can sweep through on the riflemen. So all their long range is pretty much toast at this point. Either they're going to be shooting at my Bulkleys, or they're going to get charged. So that means my allies will not be under distress from them. But I think I do end up shooting at these units here. So I think this Prussian Jaeger is going to take the blunt of it, which I should have honestly just kept charging. This Black Watch is going to come over. So things are not going as good as they should, to be quite frank. I'm going to roll. I don't want to get in a firefight with the Black Watch. I do still take a shot from him. Okay, so here come the French and the Dutch from the back. So it's gotten pretty tight here. A lot tighter than it probably should have been. Okay, so there goes my volley onto the Warfighter's riflemen. That's going to pretty much take them out of the game. They're down to 10. And I am coming under fire again from the Black Watch. So at this point, after I volley, it's going to take me a little bit of time. So I think I go into a slow, meager charge of exhausted Bulkleys into this bulletless Jaeger, which was out of ammo. But luckily, this guard is going to be able to shoot into this Black Watch as he focuses on my Bulkley. Nice. He'll even up this match hopefully soon. It's 41 to 44 at this point, but he's going to be tagging up with 3 units here unless his other units can come up to assist. So this is kind of to the wire here, and this General Bodyguard could be in here helping a bit. Luckily, these two lines should be in here giving a little assistance, but they're hanging out, and they're actually, yeah. So, okay, so the Black Watch is now exchanging fire, 28, 25, 27. So yeah, that didn't go well, and he bails out of that fight. Big mistake, because the Black Watch was able to shoot and get another kill on that while he bailed out. So now that fight's even, 25 to 25. And yeah, here goes the Jaegers. Again, he's bailing out, so he's taking damage the whole while he's in range with very depleted units. And he's allowing the other players to escape from the Dutch player here, and the Dutch player is not pushing his rifles. Bad mistake. Very bad mistake. So let's go ahead and speed this up. Okay, the British Black Watch here is going to almost rout, just because it is very tired and it's very depleted, and the flanks are going to be exposed here in a minute. Finally, the general is going to come in, and that should hopefully Put it down. Let's see here. We get a bird's eye view of the shots for the Cazadors onto the Black Watch. That should pretty much take them out of it. I don't know if this Cazador is out of ammo or not, but this line is going to pretty much be able to do a little bit of damage there. So here goes the guard versus these ammo-less Jaegers. Okay, there goes the British Black Watch they had routed. Yeah, so this one's pretty much over. So I don't know why he's retreating. He could stand out and duke it out with these two lines here. As you can see, the superior line, the Prussian lines are pretty good, but he could be standing fighting, pulling his Cazadors back a little bit and shooting. But each to their own fighting style. Okay. Come on, boys, shoot it down. That Prussian player is more than capable of being able to... okay, see, here he goes. This is a good move, splitting up his Cazadors from this fight. Okay. Now he can start shooting from a distance while his line retreats. That's a really good move on his part, because he's forced to pick two units to go after while he picks whichever two, the other one can be shooting at him. So this is a really good move. Or if they go after both the lights, the line can go and melee down the in the back the other one. So yeah, it's a really good move. Yeah, this Cazador's out of ammo, so he's going to use it as a meat shield. But honestly, at 39 minutes, still going to give a pretty good impact, even with low charge bonus, to pretty much do, you can see that, it did quite a bit of damage, and now his line is going to be able to shoot them down and really put the nail in the coffin, if you will. So there it is. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you do enjoy this content, please don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe, as it does help the channel. And we will catch you on the next video. Thanks again, everyone. Alright, let's see what the final results are. You can see there's not much left on our side in this battle. So it did come right down to the wire, even after jumping out to a massive win. That's what happens when you're pushing and you get overextended. Your opponents can really flip the script on you. Okay, so that should be the last unit, I hope. Okay, there it is. So you can see I ended up with 1345. Oh no, I ended up with 1500 kills. I think the Spanish player was I can't remember. It starts with the EL. But he had 1345. Amnarock was our French ally, 1201, and Meta was our Dutch ally with 836 when we were up against Warfighter, Aquila, Scuzza, and MTS. So yeah, good game to our opponents. They really put in a good fight, and yeah,